The Galactic Empire had long ruled the galaxy with an iron fist. Its influence stretched across countless star systems, its authority unchallenged. It was a regime built on centuries of conquest, a dynasty that crushed every rebellion with brutal efficiency. From the pristine spires of its capital, a planet-sized fortress orbiting a dying star, the Empire's leaders looked down on the universe with the arrogance of those who believe their power to be eternal. Humanity, to them, was nothing more than a nuisance, a primitive species confined to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Earth, the cradle of human civilization, had been discovered millennia ago, but it was only when the Empire conquered its nearest neighbors that humanity caught their attention. They saw Earth's inhabitants as weak, easily subjugated. Earth was assimilated into the Empire. Its people turned into laborers, soldiers, and tools for the Empire's expansion. For centuries, humans had been oppressed, forced to serve the whims of their alien overlords. But beneath the surface, there was resistance. Not in the form of large, organized armies, but in quiet, calculated movements. The Empire had underestimated humanity's will to survive. They were told that Earth's technologies were outdated, that their weapons were primitive, but they could not have been more wrong. Humans were resilient, adaptable, and determined. Over the years, they learned from the Empire's technological marvels, reverse engineering their superior ships, weapons, and systems. Whispers spread among the oppressed, carried on the wind of secret communications. Humans had begun to rebuild, to rise from the ashes of their subjugation. It was said that in the darkest corners of the galaxy, hidden beyond Imperial sensors, humanity had constructed something far beyond anything the Empire had ever seen. A fleet of their own. Ships sleek and deadly, brimming with technology the Empire would never have dreamed possible. Yet the galaxy still considered humanity insignificant. To the Empire, it was just another rebellion to crush underfoot. They had dealt with uprisings before, each one extinguished with ease. As the Empire gathered its forces for a final campaign to wipe out all remaining resistance in the galaxy, humanity's fleet quietly positioned itself at the very edge of Imperial space. The Empire's high command knew nothing of this looming threat. Even as the Imperial ships set course for what they believed to be another minor revolt, the galaxy watched with bated breath, unsure of what was about to unfold. Humanity had been underestimated for too long, and the Empire's overconfidence would be its undoing. Then, without warning, the fleet appeared. The sensors at the Empire's capital blinked erratically as they detected an unregistered fleet moving toward them, an unknown force that defied all calculations. At first, it was dismissed as a glitch, some anomaly in the system. But as the fleet materialized on Imperial radar, it became clear that this was no malfunction. Humanity's fleet had arrived, and it was unlike anything the Empire had ever seen. The ships moved in perfect formation, their dark, sleek hulls reflecting the faint light of distant stars. Each one seemed more advanced than the last, far beyond the capabilities of the Empire's vast armada. The Empire, caught off guard, scrambled to identify the ships, but there was no time. The human fleet had arrived at the heart of Imperial space, and the Empire's hubris was about to be shattered. The once mighty Galactic Empire, who had crushed civilizations in their path, found themselves facing an opponent they could not comprehend. A race they had dismissed as weak and insignificant was about to prove them wrong in the most devastating way imaginable. For the first time in centuries, the Empire began to realize that their unchallenged rule was coming to an end. A storm was coming, one they were not prepared for, and humanity, once oppressed, would be the force that brought the Galactic Empire to its knees. Humanity's rise was nothing short of extraordinary. For centuries, Earth's inhabitants had lived under the crushing weight of Imperial rule, their potential stifled by an alien regime that saw them as nothing more than expendable tools. But in the silence of their oppression, humans had been working. In secret, Away from the prying eyes of the Empire, they had built something that would change the course of the galaxy forever. The first sign of humanity's defiance was small. Skirmishes, isolated incidents where humans, utilizing their resourcefulness, took down Imperial patrols and seized technology. But these were mere glimpses of what was to come. Over time, humans began to reverse engineer the Empire's advanced technologies, studying their ships, weapons, and communication systems with a focus that bordered on obsession. They discovered flaws and weaknesses the Empire never imagined could exist. With each victory, humanity's technological prowess grew. They took what the Empire thought was invincible and bent it to their will. Their scientists, engineers, and rogue military factions worked tirelessly, creating innovations that were years ahead of what the Empire could produce. A turning point came when humanity uncovered an ancient, hidden star system, rich in resources and far from the Empire's reach. On this forgotten world, human engineers constructed massive shipyards, and it was here that the fleet was born. Ships were built at a pace that defied all expectations, incorporating technology the Empire had discarded or ignored. Energy shields that could withstand even the Empire's heaviest weapons, propulsion systems that allowed for faster-than-light travel with pinpoint accuracy, weapons capable of punching through the thickest armor. Humanity's fleet was an engineering marvel, and it was just the beginning. By the time the Empire began to suspect something was amiss, it was too late. Their spies had failed to infiltrate human systems, and their sensors couldn't detect the massive fleet being assembled in the distant reaches of the galaxy. The human rebellion had moved too quickly, too quietly. The fleet was ready before the Empire even realized it had existed. Unity was the key to humanity's success. Despite the oppressive centuries, humanity had never lost the drive to push forward, to overcome. It was in their nature to rise above adversity, to forge new paths when all seemed lost. Earth's fragmented nations had set aside their differences, their old rivalries, to unite under a single cause, the survival and liberation of their people. The fleet was a symbol of this unity, a collective effort that harnessed the best minds and the strongest wills of humanity. The result was a force that no one, not even the Empire, could have anticipated. The fleet was not simply a display of military might. It was a testament to humanity's ingenuity and adaptability. Each ship, whether large or small, was built to work in perfect coordination. The human ships used AI that surpassed anything the Empire had developed. These systems allowed for real-time tactical decisions, adjusting to the flow of battle with speed and precision. Every ship was a part of a larger, cohesive strategy. There were no individual heroes, no lone ships fighting on their own. Each vessel worked together, creating a force that could outmaneuver and outthink any opponent. And then there was the flagship Aegis, a ship unlike any other. Towering and indestructible, it was the heart of humanity's fleet. Its weapons could obliterate an Imperial battleship with a single blast, and its shields could absorb any retaliatory strike. But it wasn't just its firepower that made it formidable. It was the symbol of humanity's resilience, the embodiment of their strength and determination. To face Aegis was to realize that the galaxy was about to be reshaped, that the Empire's reign had come to an end. The Empire would never have thought that humanity, the very species they had crushed, could be the ones to wield such power. The message humanity sent to the Empire was clear. They were no longer the oppressed. They were no longer the weak, the helpless. They were a force to be reckoned with, and they would bring the Empire to its knees. The time for subjugation was over. The time for human domination had begun. The Imperial fleet, confident in its overwhelming numbers, moved with the certainty that it could crush humanity in a single stroke. Their warships, massive and intimidating, filled the space around them. Thousands of ships, from dreadnoughts to fighter squadrons, bristling with weapons and shields, formed a barrier the Empire believed was impenetrable. They charged toward humanity's fleet, ready to assert their dominance and eliminate this insignificant rebellion. The Empire's command staff, led by Admiral Zelver, sneered at the meager fleet that awaited them. Humanity had no chance. At least, that was their belief. But when the first salvo was fired, it quickly became clear how wrong they were. Humanity's fleet moved with a precision that the Empire could not match. The small, agile ships of the human forces darted around the Imperial formations, easily avoiding incoming fire. The human ships struck back with unrelenting speed, their weapons cutting through the Empire's defenses like a hot knife through butter. Each shot was calculated, each movement deliberate. It wasn't just a battle of ships. It was a battle of minds, and humanity was outsmarting the Empire at every turn. The Imperial ships, despite their size and firepower, were clumsy. Their formations broke apart under the pressure of the human fleet's advanced tactics. Humanity had learned from their oppressors. They had studied the Empire's tactics for centuries, knowing full well that brute force alone would never win them the fight. Instead, they used intelligence, agility, and sheer willpower to break apart the Empire's strategy piece by piece. Admiral Zelver, once brimming with confidence, now found himself scrambling to maintain control of his forces. His ships, trained for dominance, were suddenly facing an enemy they could not predict. Each time the Imperial fleet attempted to regroup, humanity's ships struck with pinpoint accuracy, taking down command vessels, disabling communications, and leaving their enemies scattered and confused. The Empire's warships were powerful, but they were no match for the speed and coordination of the human fleet. Each battle plan, each strategy was falling apart. The Empire, known for its fearsome reputation, was now the one on the defensive. Zelver barked orders, trying to rally his forces, but the human fleet continued to outmaneuver him. A massive Imperial battleship was the next target, and with a coordinated effort, the human fleet brought it to its knees in moments. The Empire's soldiers aboard the ship barely had time to react before it was reduced to a burning hulk, drifting helplessly in space. The tide of the battle began to shift in real time, and the Empire's morale began to crumble. Imperial commanders, once proud of their positions, found themselves questioning their chances of survival. The human fleet's weapons, more advanced than anything the Empire had ever encountered, were taking a toll they hadn't anticipated. Energy shields, designed to withstand the most powerful weapons in the galaxy, failed against humanity's precision attacks. Ships were ripped apart, and even the mighty Imperial dreadnoughts, once symbols of their invulnerability, were falling one after another. Zelver's voice grew frantic as he ordered his ships to retreat. But it was already too late. Humanity's fleet was everywhere, surrounding them, cutting off every possible escape route. The humans didn't just want victory. They were determined to annihilate the Empire's strength, to show the galaxy that they were no longer the weak, the oppressed. This was their moment of reckoning. With every passing minute, the Imperial fleet was whittled down, their forces crippled, their numbers dwindling. The once unstoppable armada, feared by millions, was falling apart. Humanity's fleet moved with terrifying efficiency, each ship working in perfect coordination to take down the Empire's defenses. As Imperial warships exploded in brilliant fireballs, the human fleet remained unscathed, untouched by the chaos that surrounded them. Finally, Zelver's flagship, the Titanus, made its last stand, attempting to rally the remaining forces for one final offensive. But humanity had already anticipated this move. With a single devastating strike from Aegis, the flagship's shields were shattered, its hull cracked open, and its core detonated in a massive explosion. The Empire's heart was destroyed, and their leadership was reduced to nothing but debris floating in the void. The battle was over. The Empire, once the most powerful force in the galaxy, had been defeated. Humanity had triumphed, not just through strength, but through strategy, innovation, and the unrelenting will to be free. The Imperial fleet, a symbol of oppression, lay in ruins, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The human fleet, victorious, began to move toward the next phase of their mission, leaving the Empire broken and disillusioned in their wake. The Empire's defeat was swift, and its consequences were immediate. The once mighty fleet, once the terror of the galaxy, was now a shattered remnant, drifting aimlessly through space. Imperial commanders scrambled to salvage what little remained, but their efforts were in vain. Humanity's victory sent shockwaves across the galaxy, as countless worlds that had long suffered under the Empire's cruel rule erupted in celebration. The fear that had held entire star systems in its grip for generations began to dissolve. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy saw a future where the Empire no longer held dominion over them. Humanity, however, did not revel in the destruction. Their message was not one of conquest, but of freedom. They had fought not for dominance, but for the liberation of all those who had been crushed under the Empire's iron boot. The human fleet, victorious and untarnished, now turned its attention to the countless enslaved races, offering them not subjugation, but the promise of a future where they could stand on their own. The galaxy watched as one world after another broke free from the Empire's yoke, guided by the shining example of humanity's strength and resolve. A broadcast echoed throughout the galaxy, the voice of humanity's leader ringing through every communication channel. We are not here to conquer. We are here to ensure freedom. The Empire's rule ends today. No longer shall any species live in fear. No longer shall oppression hold sway. The galaxy belongs to those who are free, and humanity will fight to make that a reality for all. This declaration resonated across countless star systems. The oppressed, those who had lived in the shadow of the Empire for so long, felt a spark of hope. The message was clear. The galaxy was no longer the Empire's to control. A new age was beginning, one in which the people of the galaxy could rise to their full potential, free from the tyranny that had stifled them for so long. Humanity, the species that had once been dismissed as weak, now stood at the forefront of this new era. But for Admiral Zelver, the defeat was personal. He watched as the remnants of the Empire's fleet retreated into the vastness of space, broken and defeated. For the first time, he understood the true cost of the Empire's hubris. The arrogance that had led them to believe they were invincible was now their undoing. In his mind, he replayed the battle. Humanity's fleet, efficient and precise, cutting through the Empire's forces like a knife through soft flesh. The fear that had gripped him as the tide of battle turned was something he had never experienced before. And now, with the Empire's downfall, he was left to reflect on the inevitable conclusion that had come too late for his people. As Zelver sat in the quiet of his command ship, drifting through the void, he could not escape the reality. The Empire was finished. The galaxy would never again be what it once was. Humanity had proven that it could no longer be ignored, and in doing so, they had irrevocably shifted the balance of power in the galaxy. The once feared Imperial fleet, whose very name had struck terror into the hearts of millions, was now a symbol of the past, of a time when empires ruled by fear. Humanity had won not just a battle, but a war for the future. The old order was crumbling, and with it, the galaxy began to look toward a new horizon. The human fleet, having destroyed the heart of the Empire, now stood poised to lead the way toward a future where strength would no longer be defined by conquest, but by freedom. With every Imperial ship that fell, humanity showed the galaxy that might could be used for more than domination. It could be used to protect, to liberate, and to build. As the human fleet departed from Imperial space, leaving behind a galaxy forever changed, their victory was not just a military one. It was a statement. The message was sent across every corner of the galaxy. Humanity was no longer the underdog. They were the force that would reshape the future. And for all those who had suffered under the Empire, For all those who had longed for freedom, humanity's arrival meant more than just the fall of an empire. It was the dawn of a new era, where no one would ever again have to live in fear of tyranny. The galaxy had learned that no matter how vast or powerful an empire might seem, it could always be toppled. And now, the future belonged to those brave enough to fight for it.